Thank you so much for watching my show. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have one. The guests that come on my show are vulnerable and they're exposing themselves, not just to be cathartic, but to actually help other people. Sometimes honesty and integrity is hard to come by. And doing a podcast, you're really exposed. But I hope that all across North America, business people that watch the show get a little something out of the show. I'm Tim Byrne. This is Tim Byrne Almost Live. Ted's my next guest at the Connect show down in Denver, Colorado. Phenomenal individual who spontaneously asked to come on the show and chat with me about work order management and trade coordination and building out stores and the faults and the greatness of our industry. I hope that his insight will give you insight. I'll see you on the backside. I'm Tim Byrne. This is Tim Byrne Almost Live. I am your Wednesday night drive home. Except if you're on YouTube. Don't watch YouTube while you're driving because it'll get really painful. Hi, Ted. How are you? Welcome.
Good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Alex
as well.
You have an exhibit here?
We do. We have a booth here. Yep.
Do you always have a booth?
We haven't always had a booth. So for years, I was known as the most involved person that never had a non-exhibiting vendor. And they fought me for probably 10 to 15 years almost to get a booth, and I refused to get it, even though I was on the board.
Okay, so very involved. Let's talk about this. You have been on. How old is Prism?
So Prism is 1995.
That's PRSM, not prison.
Yeah.
Because there are a whole bunch of people around the country that listen to it going, what are you doing in prison? I've been in prison since 1980. And you've been a member since 96.
96, beginning of 96.
And if you and then not having a booth at their own show, but being a member since 1996, do you feel like you kind of abuse the system for your own financial benefit?
Not necessarily. And the reason why I say that is that I was always on the ethics committee. I've been on the ethics committee forever, and especially being on the board. I was on the board early on, from 98 to 01. And so we had responsibility. We had to walk the floor. We had to enforce the rules. We had to make sure people were behaving. So I really didn't have a chance to solicit my services or take advantage of a good situation. And I just felt that what ended up happening was I almost represented all the non-exhibiting vendors. And there weren't a lot of them, but they were happy that some former board member was willing to stand up and say, I'm not going to pay if I don't want to. And eventually, one of the presidents of the organization wore me down. Yeah, thanks, Bill Petrikowski. He wore me down and said, you got to have a booth. That's it. It's over. And so I said, okay, for you, Bill, I'll do it. And so and then once you fall in that trap, you're there forever, pretty much.
So how long have you owned American Projects?
American Project Repair has been in business for 20 years now. So this is our 20th anniversary.
When did it start? What year?
1998.
So in 1996, 95, 96, when you joined Prism, who were you with that?
I was working for a company that's now out of business.
Oh,
so yeah,
you left. They went down. I got it.
I hate to say it. I helped start. That was the American Project Repair is actually technically the fourth business I've helped start. This is the one that I own, but three startups came and went very early on in this industry. So I've been doing this since 1988. So when I was 20 years old, this is what I started doing.
How old are you?
52.
Yeah, you and I the same age.
Yeah, nice.
Okay,
excellent. Yeah. And we're holding up well.
Yeah, not bad, right? Hanging in there.
So this is all I've done. I didn't go to college.
88, you were 20 years old?
Yep, 20 years old.
Yeah.
And so I learned customer service from a company that's probably here with a booth.
Yeah, I never went to college. Actually, I didn't finish high school.
Oh, excellent.
I quit when I was 15, 16 years old.
And it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I think there was a time, I think I always thought it was important.
Okay,
but I realized
that's a totally different. That's a totally different conversation.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Yeah.
Resumes today come standardly with a college degree on them.
Yeah,
it's the new high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've lost value in. And I don't hire lawyers and surgeons and doctors in my team.
Yep.
I'm sure you don't have a doctor on your team.
Nope.
But the people that you do hire, I mean, when college and universities become the new high school, it almost becomes secondary to your hiring to look through their education lineup.
Yeah.
Especially when you got BAs in underwater basket weaving and Lithuanian as a second language. You're like, who gives a flying fuck about your university degree? It means nothing to my business, right? Just because you could do Lithuanian doesn't mean anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny that it's changed, right? But but Drive hasn't.
Yeah.
And Drive still makes the American, the Canadian economy drive. The individual entrepreneurial spirit is actually what drives the economy, not your education.
Absolutely. That's what it is.
And whether you're 15 and you quit high school, or whether you're 30 and you decide to give up everything and go into your business for yourself, it's that spirit that actually drives the economy.
That's all it is.
And we could have a whole podcast just on the spirit of the economy and how it really works. Because government, we had the conversation prior to off air, government tries to control all that, and they should really let it all go.
Yeah, I agree.
They've never invented anything that government has never invented anything that has actually improved humanity. I
believe that. I absolutely do.
You and I do.
Yes.
That sounded arrogant. I didn't want it to, but it's the entrepreneurial spirit that it's the Steve Jobs who invent the smartphone.
Yep. And why, why the government, any government feels they have to take advantage of that. Why do we have to
hold it?
Why do we have to put why do we have to put our hand in that person's pocket who was a genius, who invented something that people never even dreamed of, right?
Yeah, who sat in his garage and starved and worked 24 hours around the clock, 7 days a week to peel it all together. And then you say to him, I'm going to give you 60% tax from this point on because you had blood, sweat, and tears and an idea and went bankrupt 4 times doing it and failed because entrepreneurs fail. I mean, everybody thinks we're overnight successes. You're an overnight success in 35 years.
Yes.
And then you go, okay, but I failed and I fell over and I fucked up and I stood back up. And then you tell me, because I am a success now, because I did fail so many times, now you want to take it away from me.
Yeah.
That drives you crazy.
Absolutely.
It drives me loons.
I think for me, what helped me the most with the American Project was, and I tell this story to people, and some of our newer employees have never heard my fabulous story. So, nor have you, but anyway,
it gets better every time you tell it. Right? I got it. Yeah, but mine do too.
But when we started the business, because I had gotten fired from the last place I worked at,
I like that.
I needed a job, and so people asked me, "Why are you successful? Why was it successful?" And I said, "I needed a job. I had kids. I had a wife at the time, so my ex-wife and I, the partner, we started the business, and because I needed to earn a paycheck."
Yeah, adversity, right?
I worked hard.
Adversity, right?
Yes.
One of my sales guys, and all salespeople in my organization all get draws on commission, but they can pay commission, but they all get draws. So they aren't without pockets, they still pay rent.
Yep.
And one of the new guys says to me, goes, how can I become, and I'm a good sales guy, and he goes, how can I become as good as you selling? I said, let me take your draw away. Let me take your paycheck away. And he goes, what do you mean? Well, if you really want to become good at selling, I'll take your paycheck away. Absolutely. And we'll just live off commission. Yeah. And only when it's paid. Uh-huh. Yes. Or not when it's invoiced. We pay commission when it's invoiced, not when it's paid. So 120 days later. I said, and then you'll become really, really fucking good at what you do really fast.
You'll be awesome.
You'll be the best there ever was. He went, I can't afford that. I said, and that's why you're going to take 5 or 10 or 20 years to master your craft and not 1 or 2 years. Because you're not in adversity.
Hunger and bills and
the more government takes away adversity, and this sounds really bad, by the way, and I got the whole minimum wage and welfare, but the more you take away adversity, the less likelihood you're going to advance yourself. Yes. You have to lose a baseball game to win one.
Absolutely.
Because you don't actually know what it's like to win until you lost.
Yeah. And when I was, and that's a great example. So when I first got into this business, I watched other people fail. So as I said, I
got fired at your last job.
I got fired.
I love that. Can I ask him why you got fired? I want to know. Was it something good?
No, I wish it was something good. It really wasn't. What I learned over time, helping people start businesses, is greed is a terrible. Money is the most awesome thing, and it's the worst thing ever. And greed is a horrible thing. So once we started getting success in any of those businesses, the guy who owned it, and I was always just the guy doing the work, the guy who owned it got greedy and wanted the money.
Yeah, raped it.
And so over time, I became, I was in the way because I was taking a salary and I was earning a bonus or what have you. Yeah. And so that was it. And he fired me, and I offered him the opportunity. We could be here now. And I offered him the opportunity. And I said, please don't. And he said, no, I think you have to go. And I said, okay.
So, but you must have done something. Nothing.
I'm telling you.
No. You just got greedy.
He got greedy. Yes.
But there is that, and by the way, I want to talk to you about Prism. We're here in Denver, Colorado, 2019 in the spring, and we're having snow on the ground. It's almost May 1st. And I want to talk about this, but this conversation is really interesting. I'm going to keep getting this way. And you're 20 years old. By the way, one of my companies is 31.
Okay.
And
Congratulations.
The other one, State Door and Glass, is 31. Byrne on Demand, which is a general contractor in Canada, it's 20.
That's awesome. Good for you.
The podcast's a year old now. Got a whole bunch of miscellaneous stuff. When that first 5 years you're in business.
Yep.
And you got to remember this, right? The first 2, you're physically starving to death, trying to keep ends together and pay mortgages and make sure the bills paid. Like you're almost to the point where you're losing hair.
Sure.
Right. And somewhere in that 3rd to 5th, you start making money. Mm-hmm. And somewhere in that 5th to 6th, you want to take it out and you want to start raping your company because you're sick and tired of being paid less than everybody else. I mean, this is the scenario that every single entrepreneur. Did you go through it? Did you go through those moments where you're like, my staff get paid more than me. My construction manager paid, I've been paying my staff with a credit card because I didn't have the money to pay them. I mean, that's how I started Stadia.
We were very fortunate. So and I say that, and you're right. You're right with the part of, you're just going 100 miles an hour. You're working as hard as you can. Yeah. It was 7 days a week, 14, 16, 18 hours a day. Early on, thank God for a supportive family, because my kids would come to work with me and just sit there and do whatever. Sure. I mean, they were little, and my ex-wife Denise was so patient. I invoiced my son out once on a job, and he was 4 years old, and I put him down as the 5th guy on the job. This is going to sound really bad. It was an insurance job. Yep. I was really young. We were starving. Hey. I had him on site with me. I said, the guy's like, there's 4 guys on site, make it 5. I'm like, who? Oh boy, Junior's good billing. It was 30 years ago. The company that I did it for is bankrupt. I can't get the money back. It's all right. All right. Anyway, keep going. So when we started the business, because I had been in the industry already for 10 plus years, I had a following. I had customers who were willing to
do business with starvation me. Problem.
I didn't, because I wasn't starting from zero. I was starting with 10 years of a reputation and 10 years of experience, and people followed me. And my thing has always been this with our company, and I think what's kept our company sometimes in check, but sometimes where we wanted it to be, is that we've never taken on more than we can handle. So we're the first person to raise our hand and say, you know what? We're over our head here. Let's stop. Time out. Let's take a step back, everybody, and do that. And I think that's why we've never gotten involved in, hey, we can do 30 different services.
Your ego never got ahead of yourself?
No. Because again,
you're an anomaly.
I needed that check, and so I still need a paycheck today, to this day, obviously. So I'm still working.
Okay, so we're going to stop because I want to talk about Prism.
Okay,
but you said a bunch of things off air. You got divorced.
Yep.
And your ex-wife is still your partner.
That's exactly right. Denise is still my business partner.
That rocks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Are you remarried?
Nope. No.
Okay.
Just once. Once was plenty.
Okay.
No, she's a very supportive. She's a very wonderful person, and a great business partner.
Did your marriage get strained because of the business?
Oh, I'm sure. it was my fourth child.
And
absolutely.
Do you think husband and wife should work together? You're not husband and wife now, but do you think it was the straws on the camel back are really light until you realize there's a million of them on the camel's back.
Well, yes, and I think what ends up happening is that you live it all day and then you come home and live it all night, and so you're more likely to, even when she wasn't necessarily working in the office, maybe she was working from home or doing other things. I come home and I want to talk about it. How was your day? Oh, it was awesome, or oh, it was horrible, and here's why. And so you never get away from it. And I don't know how people can actually work face to face that are married for years and years and years and years. I can't see it.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I did it with my wife for 3 months this last winter, and I'm newly married.
Congratulations.
Second marriage.
Oh, good for you.
Newly married, and my wife is a rock star who runs retirement homes all over Canada.
Oh wow!
And I was asked to come in and help with some management challenges they were having, and I went there full time. And I, like a true entrepreneur, suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder and a bunch of other things.
My gosh, yes.
Okay, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're
totally
addictive,
absolutely.
Everything you have as an entrepreneur.
That's right.
And the older you get, it becomes eccentric and you become loonier about it.
So I go work with my. Well, you do, right? You just like
So
in your head. It's
so true.
You're moving twice as fast as everybody else in your head.
Yep.
I go there to help my wife, and I'm 51. My wife is a beautiful 39-year-old lady who's been doing it her whole life, family business. So she's
awesome.
Got her shit together.
Yep.
She, at the end of the third month, said, "I don't know how you're doing this the way you do it." And he said, I told her the whole time, we can't work together. We can't work together. It's bad. And it wasn't bad because true entrepreneur, like the starter guy.
Yep.
I was up at 5. I was in her business by 6 a.m. And at midnight, I'm still talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm
absolutely.
And you drive.
Yeah.
Right. And and I said to my wife, I said, we just can't work together because I'm crazy.
Yep.
And I assume it had a lot of big toll in your marriage. It must have.
Yeah. I would say it did. I would
now
say
you and it's Denise.
Denise, yeah.
Are better friends now. Work together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
I'm okay when people quit or leave my organization. It's not brain drain. I get more brain.
Yeah.
New people come in.
Yep.
And they come in fresh and they come in pumped.
Absolutely.
And not that I like people to leave either, because I love the familiarity. But I like, if somebody said to me, I want to go, I help. When people tell me they're going to quit, I help them find a job.
I heard you say that. Yes. So
and let them go, because two things: karma.
Yeah.
It's a bitch and she'll come back.
Absolutely.
So help people become better people.
Yep.
And do it honestly.
Yep.
Like do it with good, stay inside your moral compass.
Good intention.
Right. Good intention. The other thing is that new person coming in, you just said it. If it was only me giving all the ideas, right? So that new blood coming in, when you switch the old guard and the new guard, so fantastic. That excitement, the thrill, shooting stupid ideas on the wall. Because you got to have 100 stupid ideas to have one good one. And
absolutely.
And the new kid that walks through the door is going, blah, blah, and you go, I've done it. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I've done it. Blah, blah. That one I have it.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And so it's fun for me today because I get to see people, and I guess as you get older, you look at things a little bit differently, and you have a different perspective, and you start appreciating things. And especially when I have employees now that are all younger than my youngest child. Not all of them, but some of them are younger than my wonderful daughter Alex.
Like mine.
And that's right. Yeah. And so you look at them, and they're just. And I was talking to one of them, and she's 21, and I just said, you just remember, I've sat in your chair. Yeah. I've been the nervous kid. I've been the kid who sat there and said, I can do this. I want this to be my career. I says, and that's what you have to do. You have to make a choice. Do you want this to be a job? Do you want this to be a career? If you want it to be a career, we can take you down that path. Yeah. But if you want it to be a job, that's okay. You're fine. We have that role too. But just know that
I use, do you want to be a job or do you want to be a lifestyle?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I find the career thing is very defining.
Well, that's true.
And I'm a big fan of start when you can, finish when you can. Task oriented, not hour oriented.
Okay.
People working 60 hours a week is stupid.
Yeah.
In today's environment, but if you can do 60 tasks in a day, that's a lot. Rather than 60 hours a week.
Yep.
There's more profit in finishing a task than working 100 hours. Right?
Sure.
And I'm always about the lifestyle thing. So do you want Stady or Byrne, my companies? Do you want your company to become part of that lifestyle, part of your lifestyle, right? Because your company's got a wicked culture to it.
Yeah. So what we found is that even people that we're starting to get more involved in people working from home or people working remotely, and from what they say, it's more productive for them. They can take time out in their day to take the kid to the doctor, do the laundry,
switch the laundry around, and still do email.
Pick somebody up from school that's sick, and then they might be doing email at 7:30 at night, and because they're more comfortable, or it fits into their day better.
What do you do? What does your company physically do? Not the customers you work for. Like, what do you do day to day? You install something cool? Do fancy millwork?
We do. Well, we do install millwork. Our 4 core businesses is electrical, plumbing, handyman, and locksmith. Not in any particular order, but those are the 4 we do. Yeah. Those are the 4 we found we're best at. We get opportunities to do other stuff, and we turn them down. If I don't have the network, if I don't have the people, if I know it's something I can't do, after 20 years, I know what I can do. I know what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And I've learned in life that if you know what you're good at, exploit it. Do the best you can at it. Exploit's not maybe the best word, but it's the word I use. So I've exploited every talent I have, and I hope other people do, to improve their career, improve their work life, improve their business.
Okay, so you have the same. You have some of the same challenges I do in Canada. We're very similar businesses, actually.
Yep.
You know the work order management software that we have to pump our shit into?
Yes.
Do you hate it?
Yes.
They don't make it easy.
They do not make it easy.
So, and I'm very candid. I'm not sure if these work order management companies are worth whatever they're charging their retailers. There was a day once when retailers had their own facilities people and they make the service calls and they manage with a purchase order system and the whole 9 yards. And then they hired these guys, but these guys make the things so arduous.
Yep.
And what they want you to do is they want you to hire them to upload your invoices for you and upload all your shit, right? To the point where they're making it so difficult that I actually think somewhere in the last 10 years, untangibly, the retailer's cost to operate their business has gone up and they're not getting more for their dollar anymore.
Correct. That is, I believe that I think the original idea was,
I got it, but say it out loud. The original idea was
to help the retailers cut costs, to take out a layer, by having a work order management system, but also by getting the vendors to do a lot of their work for
the accounting, be their accountants.
Be their accountants and do reporting and do all that kind of stuff. So
I don't think it's working anymore. Sorry, I'm a simple guy. I'm the dumbest guy in the room, but I don't know if it works anymore.
And I'm glad you're the dumbest guy in the room because now I'm one person smarter.
Right?
But you're exactly right, and that's the. I think about it a lot, and that
you sit around the shop at night, you're sitting there shooting the shit about it, you're like, this can't be working for them anymore.
No, and they're. I think what you're going to see, and I think you're starting to see it now, is you're going to see an explosion of new companies doing that because all the other ones are either getting bought out or they're getting involved in other things, whatever, or they're getting so big. And I hear the complaints from my customers, and they complain about all the work order systems. There's not one they're necessarily happy with. The prices have gone up dramatically.
But if they manage it again themselves, I think they've lost the ability to have good workmanship in the field because everybody's giving a shit about the purchase order and the paperwork being filled out. Nobody's actually worried that the petty mat in the front of the store is still curved up like a banana.
Yeah. And so I get graded on an IVR time, or I get graded on a
stupidest thing I ever saw in my life.
There's no photos. There's no receipt. So you got an F. What? How could it? Is the store happy? Is the customer happy? Is the job done?
Yeah.
Is it what you wanted?
20 years ago, you and I would worry about the job being done.
Absolutely.
And actually, I assume you're the same model as me, where I actually would I would invoice at the end of the month because I was more concerned about making sure I got that door fixed or that drywall, whatever I was doing, more worried about getting it done than I was about invoicing. And only when I ran out of money did you start invoicing your client. Oh my God, we have no money coming in.
We talk about you all the time at the office. I learned again from working for other people, I learned. We push. I still to this day.
Today we invoice same day and all that shit, and I got that. But going back when we were kids.
I still read every invoice that goes out the door at our office because to me that's the final product.
Sure. Yeah,
that's the last piece of the puzzle is that invoice, and that customer has to be happy.
Yeah,
and I take a lot of pride in that, regardless of how long it takes.
Okay, so I read every quote that goes into the system.
See, that's wow.
That's funny.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, there's some real weird synergy there. I literally look at every document going in.
Yeah.
But everyone.
But I think it's...
because my guys were taking on stuff. The odd time we had a slow day or something, and they were like, we're going to go into the signage business. And like, we don't do signs. Stop. They were taking work. And because those work orders, see, this is the bad thing.
Yeah.
Those work order management companies literally generically toss work orders out in the market.
Yep.
And you're allowed to grab them.
Correct.
And this is stupid.
And if you don't decline them, then...
you own them.
Yeah, you own them. And then it's sitting there. And who's suffering? Because if you can't do it, or if it's not your forte...
Oh, and they're giving them to vendors and call centers or whatever they are who have no clue.
Yeah.
And don't care.
Yeah.
They're just going to... It weirds me out that everybody's putting 20 points on everything. 20 points, 20 points, 20 points. I don't care whether you're charging $10 a work order or whatever. Everybody's got their points all the way down. I'm like, why don't you just call Fred the plumber yourself or John the sign guy yourself and have them go do this? Like,
yes.
I don't get... Like, I've lost...
Yep.
And I know why they started. I got the original intent and it did work. Yep. Six Sigma. The theory of constraint and efficiencies. Right?
I'm not really familiar. I'm familiar with it, but I don't know it.
And Motorola.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you see them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Motorola.
Yeah.
Motorola went bankrupt And they sold all their patents and shit and made money. But the company's operating stopped because they Six Sigma themselves, which is the theory of constraint or the efficiencies, the mathematical efficiency theory. They literally Six Sigma or efficiency themselves to death, where they were measuring how long you took for your poop in the morning. And how many times you sipped your coffee in between typing. Like they measured everything to get maximum efficiency out of everything.
Wow.
To the point where they actually stopped being efficient because they were too efficient.
Yeah. That's just...
And this is how I see what's going on right now in our marketplace, that all these middle things have lost their efficiency. And they started out good. And
they did.
Now it's just all kind of imploded on them.
It started good.
And I don't think they know how to get out.
No, I don't think they do either. And I don't think they have...
Because once you as a retailer, your numbering system, your nomenclature is owned by that company. Work order number 11144. It's hard to get it back out of that company. Yeah. Because your purchase order system, everything's wrapped around that system. Yeah. How the fuck do you get out of that?
Well, that and I don't know how the work order management places store information, but if they're storing all of your data for your HVAC and your roof and your leases and all this other stuff, how do you get it out? How do you say, I'm sure there's a contract that says I can have my information, but
how friendly is it to move? And if it's going to cost me $250,000, $1 million, $10 million to get it out and start again, why do it? And I'll just live with the headaches.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right. And that's really what it boils down to.
And I don't get it.
Yeah, it's funny, eh?
Yeah.
So like the show, like our market, I see a lot of changes in the next decade.
Yeah.
I do. I see a lot of things going to change. I don't think we can stay the same anymore.
No.
It's Blockbuster and Amazon, baby. There's no other choice. And I think you have to go Amazon route. You're going to eventually fall on your face.
Yes, I think so too. And I just, it's a cycle. So it's this giant cycle and
decentralize, centralize, decentralize, right? Every 10 years, a new CFO comes in, a new president. We're decentralizing.
I was sitting at a meeting with a customer. This was about a month ago, and they said, "You know what we need?" And I said, "What do you need?" And they said, "We need you to take your prices and price by state." And I looked at him and I said, "Do you realize that I was doing that and everyone was doing that probably 25 years ago?"
Right. Yeah.
I said, and at the request of retailers, we stopped. We went to regional, then we went to one flat rate, and then we went back to regional, and now we're going. It's just a cycle, and it's the funny thing is that I think, and it's probably all industries are like this. The new people that come in today, the new vendors, the new retailers, whatever, they think that's the greatest frickin' idea ever, and when really it's
the same shit,
it's just be made over and over again. Totally. So it's just a big cycle, and I don't know. Obviously technology is huge, and I don't know what the next, couple of years are going to bring. I would say, just from what I hear, I hear and we see with people buying out other people, a lot of consolidation again. I see that coming down the road, at least for American companies, as far as people that are here. Some of the work order management people got bought out, or one of them did, and then some of the other people got bought out. And
so we're right now knee deep in trying to figure out on a national basis in Canada how to get our technicians to bill right from site into those shitty websites from their phone.
Wow. You would think it could be done.
Okay, so nobody's doing it globally. And this currently is my IT team, because I own my own IT business.
Yep.
It's my IT team's job to get it from a smartphone into fucking some shitty website that's made by somebody to put up their work order, because I don't want to have all that processing in between. I don't want to send the work order back. I don't even care about the signatures anymore. So with that comes GPS posting. So I've almost refused signatures now. They said I want signed work order. Yeah. I got a GPS stamp that says Buddy's standing in the store. Yeah. From his phone. So when you turn on our software, it clicks and it goes, Buddy, I know Buddy's at 1818 Bob Street.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You don't need a signature to prove me that he's not on site.
Correct.
And that signature isn't proving whether they did the work or not.
No.
So all you really want to do is prove that he's on site.
Yeah.
And your IVR system is way too expensive to manage. So I'm just going to do GPS stamp. And once you get this email, right on the top, it's going to say the address of the guy.
Yep.
And the other thing is that we're going to work on GPS stamping. We're working on invoice from site right at that moment, right into the person's website.
That's fantastic.
Right. Third thing, these live cams that police wear. So inside our software, we're planning to put live cams on our technicians. So if your work order is live, you get a notice that it's live, and you can go in and click and watch a guy work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And he can turn it on and off from his chest, just like a police officer
Have you played with those?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. So he can turn it on and off from his chest, but he can literally go live. And when he presses live, it shows up on our website, on our clients' websites, that we're live working. And you can watch the technician do whatever he's doing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Those are the three big things that I think we're going to do in the next 24 months, which is going to dynamically change the way we do business.
Well, and probably everybody eventually, right?
Yeah.
If people,
yeah, I'm sure there's other people. I'm sure there's other people out there messing around with the technology too. I just want to race to the finish line. I want to be Amazon, not Blockbuster.
No. See, then you'll be the smartest guy in the room.
No, never. There's always somebody smarter than me. You've been fantastic. Hey, tell me a phone number somebody can call you at.
Sure, it's 800-227-0706. The company,
do you ever pick it up?
American Project and Repair. Do I ever pick it up? I have an extension now. So for up until 2 years ago, it was live people all the time. So we never had voicemail. We never had any of that. And about 2 years ago, we got voicemail.
So we've always had the voicemail thing, but I shut it off and always had live answer.
Yep.
6 months ago, we switched it over and put on automated attendant.
Yep.
Do you know what happens when you press 0?
It goes to you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it actually says you're going to reach the present.
That's
so
awesome.
whether you're an employee, whether you're a vendor, whether you're the bank, or whether you're a customer, you don't have to go to an assistant to a extension. You can press 0 and I live pick up.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. The first few months, people did it to see if it really worked.
Yep.
Now I only get when an employee's in trouble or a vendor feels like he's being disserviced.
Sure.
And I'll tell you, as an owner, best thing I ever did, because you hear about things long after the tide has taken them out.
Yeah.
And the problem is when you're dealing with stuff that the tide's taken out, like accountants, you're dealing in the past. I hate my accountants. They always go, Tim, you did so well. Like, why don't we have any money in the bank? Well, that was last quarter. You're like, who cares about last quarter? I don't care.
Where's the money?
Yeah, where is last quarter? Doesn't matter. And I found that pressing 0 put me in today's quarter, put me in today's. Press 0. It put me in this moment right now.
That's awesome.
And by the way, if everyone, all my friends that own business law, oh, that's crazy. You shouldn't do it.
No,
nobody abuses me.
Yeah.
Nobody. And when people call, somebody calls and goes, I want to talk to the accounts receivable department. I'm like, my name's Tim Byrne. I explain to them, I can't help you. I'm going to have to call back in and follow the prompts. I can't help you. But if you ever get in trouble, you can call me back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I'm not there to, but boy, does it put me firsthand, eh?
That's fantastic. And that's what you want to, know the information. You want to know it when it's happening. You want to know if there's a problem, if somebody's mad, if customer or vendor, it doesn't matter.
Finding out 2 days, a week from now for you was terrible.
Yeah. So it is. And a lot of times people, employees have the greatest intentions and they think they're doing you a favor by not sharing this one piece of information with you, and you want to know it because you might have acted different, you might have decided differently, or at least I got a heads up. And so that's one of the things we try to push so hard. And for us, the employee, first for me, it's the family's the most important. I wouldn't be here today without the support of my family, and then it's the support of the people who work for me. It's the team that works for me. Customers and vendors, and it's so important. And to me, it's all part of the puzzle. And you got to know all of it, and you got to be in touch with all of it. And you can't ignore one or the other or pick and choose.
No, that's right. You're right. You have to literally your staff, your vendors, your client all have to be equal.
Absolutely.
Or it ain't going to work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks for hanging out with me.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. Anytime, Tim. Anytime.
No, you're good shit. You're a smart guy. And
thank you. So are you.
And you got great energy.
Great.
And I like the honesty.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Appreciate it again. Man. Yeah.
I'm Tim Byrne. This is Tim Byrne Almost Live. I am your Wednesday night drive home. We are at Prism here in Colorado, Denver, and we're having a fucking great time.
We are having a great time.
Thanks, Daddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
I'm Tim Byrne. That was another episode, Ted and the Bear Hunting. I want you to subscribe and go on to timburnalmostlive.com and leave your comments and your topics. I'm always looking for great content. If you're an entrepreneur struggling to get your business off the ground, feel free to come on to my show where 20,000 downloads a month will bring you better advertising than any trade show you'll ever go to. And remember, stick your head above that foxhole, because in life, unless you take a few risks, you'll never get the Purple Heart and be a hero. See you next week.